We are also on Weibo. Please check us out for more great videos.
Hey, before you make it big, you gotta take whatever work is offered to you. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 famous actors who started on bad shows.
Hey, Yolis, finally find someone who hasn't seen all your special moves, huh?
For this list, we're taking a look at big-name actors whose early roles were on TV shows that would now be considered beneath them. Note that we're not including any daytime soaps, because that would be a different list, but that means that similar television serials that play at night are still eligible.
Peekaboo, I see you.
Number 10, Jason Momoa, Baywatch.
Permission to come aboard.
Long before he played Aquaman in the DCEU, Jason Momoa showed he had the right stuff to play the pretty boy as Jason, one of the lifeguards in Baywatch, Hawaii.
Okay, under Mr.
Jason. No Mr. Just Jason.
His run spanned the last 2 seasons of the show, which was a total of 44 episodes, and he would reprise his role in Baywatch Hawaiian Wedding. Momoa has since revealed in interviews that for a few years after the show ended, no one would hire him, and no agent would take him simply because he was on Baywatch.
And how old are you, Jason?
19?
That's too young.
I'll get older.
It would take nearly a decade for him to cement his reputation by playing Khal Drogo on Game of Thrones.
Vina neve, ave maisima.
Number 9, Dana Carvey and Nathan Lane, one of the boys.
Well, this is Jimmy's store here, and well, the boys are, well, they're out right now, and the little bald-headed dude can't come to the phone either.
In addition to Carvey and Lane, one of the boys had a cast that included Mickey Rooney, Scatman Crothers, and Meg Ryan, and yet was still so bad that TV Guide named it one of the 50 worst TV shows of all time.
Now that seems unnecessary. Could it have really been that bad?
Oh, it sucked.
Really?
In it, an elderly man, played by Rooney, lives with his grandson, played by Carvey, and his roommate, played by Nathan Lane, who are both attending college. This show was canceled after its first season, and it's safe to say that few people missed it. If there's one silver lining to its existence, however, you did get to see a pre-SNL Dana Carvey do his Mr. Rogers impression.
Come on, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hi, neighbor. Can you say grumpy?
Number 8, Rami Malek, The War at Home.
Kenny, you know why I'm not popular? Because you're weird and puberty-ish?
In the sitcom, Malek, who would go on to star in Mr. Robot and win an Oscar for his portrayal of Freddie Mercury, played Kenny, a gay teenager who was the best friend of one of the main characters.
Have you ever heard of Annie Get Your Gun? The 1946 Tony Award-winning Broadway musical with music and lyrics by Irving Berlin that made Ethel Merman a legend? I don't know, it sounds kind of familiar.
Surprisingly, the sitcom doesn't take the low road with Kenny and actually humanizes him, something one might not have expected from a Fox sitcom in the mid-2000s. Malek's character and the show's representation of an LGBTQ+ character, which earned it a GLAAD Award nomination for Outstanding Comedy Series, are seen as the few remarkable things to come out of this otherwise forgettable show.
Come on, there's barely room for the 3 of us. I mean, you're not gonna have any of your sci-fi buddies crash here, right?
Number 7, Jim Carrey, The Duck Factory.
You just gonna hang around here?
I just don't know what I'm gonna do yet.
Considering the kind of wacky roles that have made Jim Carrey famous, we can look back in hindsight and say this show was obviously not a good fit for the comedian. In this sitcom, Carrey plays Skip Tarkenton, an animator who works for a company that produces a cartoon called The Dippy Duck Show. The humor revolves around the quirky workplace environment and the personalities of the people who work with Skip.
You wrote a movie? Fantastic. Andrea, want to read it?
Oh, I'd love to really, but I have to wash my cat.
No one could have made this lackluster material work, but it's especially painful to watch Carrey play someone so mild-mannered.
He's proud of his script. He just wants somebody to read it.
And tell him it's wonderful.
Been working on it for 8 years.
Older doesn't mean better.
That's what Bibi said. Just last night.
Number 6, CarrieAnne Moss, Models Inc.
Look, Sarah, I'm sorry about last night. I mean, the last thing that you needed on your first night was a raging case of sibling rivalry.
In the mid-1990s, the Matrix actress starred in this spin-off of Melrose Place about a modeling agency. Critics blasted the primetime soap opera for its melodramatic story arcs. In the evening series, Moss played Carrie Spencer, a model represented by the titular agency.
Hypothesize all you like, Grayson. I'm leaving town to get away from modeling, hooking, and you.
For one of her storylines, Carrie looks for her long-lost son, whom she thought had died. The show was canceled after one season and ended on the bleakest of notes for Moss's character. She was kidnapped and forced into slavery in a Central American location known as Hooker Hell.
You work for me now. Work hard, and someday you'll get this back.
Number 5. David Duchovny, Red Shoe Diaries.
Dear Red Shoes, try to envision a train on a track. One direction, no diversions.
Shortly before taking on his iconic role as Agent Mulder, Duchovny starred in this strange and now largely forgotten TV show. Known for striking a softcore tone, Red Shoe Diaries is about a man whose wife commits suicide and, to his surprise, was keeping a diary that detailed an affair and repressed desires. To make sense of these new discoveries, he asks other women to send him letters about their desires, which each episode then revolved around.
There's something about your ad that compelled me to write. It struck me as sincere and very sad.
Producers of the series said they were breaking new ground with this provocative series, but it only goes to show that just because something is original doesn't automatically make it good.
It's not something you plan on. It's never something you look for. It just sort of happens.
Number 4. Halle Berry, Living Dolls.
I am still putting on my eyeshadow. Honey, any more and raccoons will mate with you.
This late 80s sitcom about young models working at an agency marked Halle Berry's first credited acting role. She played Emily Franklin, one of the models. Considering that Berry had a background in modeling and beauty pageants prior to acting, this was a perfect place to start. Living Dolls was a spin-off of Who's the Boss, and also starred a young Leah Remini.
No, I got a problem because you're trying to turn me into one of your little goody-two-shoes Barbie dolls.
The show was poorly received and only lasted 12 episodes. However, Berry managed to land on her feet shortly afterward, finding steady work in film and television, where she's won both an Emmy and an Oscar.
You see, this modeling stuff is great, but for me it's just a way to make money so I can go to medical school. Of course.
Number 3. Jennifer Lawrence, The Bill Engvall Show.
Knows anything about the table, Lauren?
We both know this will go a lot faster if you just tell me.
This A-lister's first big acting role was playing Bill Engvall's fictional teenage daughter in The Bill Engvall Show, which only lasted 3 seasons. Though it was a thankless role, Lawrence was seen as one of the few bright spots of this TBS sitcom.
Oh my God, are we this family now? All about the quarterback?
Lauren, can't you be happy for your brother?
No, we can talk about something else. Like how Lauren wants to get her belly button pierced.
Showing promise in her performance, Lawrence won a Young Artist Award in 2009. That Lawrence could go from average girl in this sitcom to a resourceful teenager in Winter's Bone or Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games films shows what kind of range Lawrence actually has as an actress.
So, how excited am I going to be to see The Garage?
Excited may not be the right word.
Number 2. Ryan Gosling, Young Hercules.
Expect the unexpected.
After his stint on the Mickey Mouse Club, but before his film career took off, Gosling starred in this prequel to Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. As is likely self-evident from the title, young Hercules followed Hercules as a teenager before he grew into Kevin Sorbo.
Hurt! Hang on! Like I have a choice?
Though the show aired on the Fox Kids network, Gosling took his work seriously. When asked to name a project in his career he felt was underrated, Gosling chose Young Hercules, with part of his reasoning being that he had to fight monsters that weren't really there. It's hard to argue with that.
Hey, Hurt! You gonna do something or what? What do you think I'm trying to do?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Leonardo DiCaprio, Parenthood.
Julie doesn't want a wedding. Todd's going to San Diego to be a lifeguard.
The 1990s saw Leonardo DiCaprio becoming one of the biggest stars in the world, but the decade didn't start out so promising. DiCaprio's first prominent role was in the sitcom Parenthood, which was based on the 1989 film starring Steve Martin. On the show, DiCaprio played Gary Buckman, a role played by Joaquin Phoenix in the original movie.
You know, you don't know your father like I do. I don't know him at all. What's his number?
The show was canceled after 12 episodes, but it did earn DiCaprio a Young Artist nomination for Best Young Actor starring in a new television series. Fortunately for DiCaprio, he found success shortly after when he joined the TV show Growing Pains, before going on to star in films like Romeo and Juliet and Titanic.
Oh yeah, what she said.
All right, later.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.